Hey, what's up YouTube? Doing a video today on replacing the upper and lower radiator hose and also the thermostat on a 2005 Nissan Frontier. Now I have the vehicle off for a while, so the hoses are nice and cold, no pressure in the system, and just got to get under it, open the petcock, the drain plug I call it actually, and drain the coolant out. So under the bottom by the passenger side, this skid plate, that you could leave, that doesn't have to come off, but there's a hole right here that you could see, that drain plug, and it uses a Phillips head screwdriver. You get it in there, you back it out, and that's going to drain the coolant. See, I got my catch pan so I could collect the coolant that drains out, so I could recycle it. Actually, I could take it to like AutoZone, Pet Boys, Advanced Auto, one of those places that they'll accept used coolant and they'll dispose of it. So once I got the drain plug loose, you can see the coolant is dripping out. Now to get it to flow, I come up top, and on the reservoir just open that up so air could get in the system, and it's gonna, all the coolant's gonna drain out from the radiator. Now once that's done, then I'll move on to taking the hoses off. And as usual, it's all about safety. So you can see I have my jack as a backup, and I have my jack stands both sides, so the vehicle is very well secured. Now once the coolant is all drained out, you want to go on the driver's side front by the radiator and remove that hose clamp for the lower hose. Now before you get to that, this skid pad, once it's all bolted up, it's kind of difficult to get to it. You could still get to it, but it's kind of difficult. So what I did was I removed the bolts. So I removed one bolt on one end, and there's another one down here, and then we have up front, it's one on the passenger side, two in the middle, one right here, and another one right here on this side. Once those are removed, then this plate is a little flexible. In my case, it was so rusted that these two rear bolts broke, so I'm gonna have to drill those out. But if you run in this problem, or if I'm unable to drill it out, I'll put a hole right here in the plate. I'll just drill a hole in the plate, like right here, and divide some type of hook, push it up to the cross member, and hook the other end in this hole right here. And then it looks something like so. The hook is in the shield and the other end is in the cross member, and I could devise something to hold it, and it'll be secure until the screws, the bolts actually could get drilled out. So you can see I got the hose clamp off, and I'll just reach up in there, twist it, make sure the hose is loose. But before I pull this hose off, I'm actually gonna go back to the drain plug, the petcock, and put that back in. So once I take the hose off, then I could put my drain pan on this side of the vehicle, which is the driver's side, to have it catch whatever coolant that's going to be coming out of it. And here I got the lower hose off. I have the coolant draining in the pan. And on the opposite side, you could see the drain plug or the petcock is back in place. So now I'm back up top, and this is normally in the way, the air duct. So I already took that off, put that aside, and just got to take off this hose clamp, the upper hose clamp, the one on the radiator, and this that goes into the engine. Once this hose is off, then I go to the lower radiator hose clamp and I take that off. Now the bottom one is already off and draining, and let's see if I could get it. Down there is where the lower one is. That's draining. The clamp is removed. So once I take those off, then the hoses are off, and I could get to the thermostat bolts to take the thermostat out and change that also. And all this could be done with just a regular slip joint pliers. This is just a Craftsman I have. You could actually use it for the hoses. As you can see, it has a little notch in it that it sits right on the clamp. Sits like so. You can see it sit in the clamp. And once you squeeze that, it's not slipping, it's not going anywhere. It's just to back it off. And that's a better look at the pliers. Has the two little notches that sits right on top of the clamp. So now I just got to remove that other clamp, that bottom one, and the hoses are off. So you may have a hard time getting off this lower hose. Sometimes you could just hold it and twist it and it comes right off. Sometimes it doesn't. If you twist it and it's not coming off, you could get a slip joint plier or a channel lock. You get in there, you adjust it to the hose where you're not really like crushing the aluminum that it slides on. And you just want to get in there with the plier, get it on there like so, give it a decent grip, and you just want to twist it back and forth, and you could see it moving. Once you loosen up all that, whatever is holding it, then you're able to start sliding it off, and you could see it sliding off. Now I'm just gonna move my pan a little bit so I could catch whatever is gonna come out of that thermostat housing. So once the two bolts that holds the thermostat housing are removed, and to remove these bolts you may have to get a long 3/8 drive. The housing comes right off, one bolt, the other ones at the bottom. And here we got our thermostat. Just put the new one in the same way. Took the old one out. Just hold it, pull it out. Coolant is gonna come out once you pull this out, so I'm gonna make sure my drain pan is sitting right at the bottom so it'll catch any coolant that leaks out. So I got my pan set. Now I'm just gonna pull the thermostat out. Do it slowly. Hear the coolant coming out, going in the pan. And got the thermostat out. So we always want to make sure we match everything up. So here we got the old hose, that's the lower hose, that's the new one. Same hose, the upper, same thing. The thermostat. Now they're slightly different, but I got the new one from the dealer through the VIN number, so it shouldn't be a problem. Should be the same fit. And we just want to transfer the hose clamps from the old hose to the new one, and the same thing here, and this holding clamp, just want to take that off, put it on the new hose in the same location. So here's everything transferred over from the old to the new. And on this clamp, I didn't clip this back in position yet. I'll clip it in once I install the hose and make sure everything lines up. Then this is just a simple matter of snapping it into place. If you see that it's a hook that goes in this hole right here. So to take it apart, I use a flathead screwdriver to get in from the side and just gently twist it, push on that and pry it out. And there's no gasket material to clean up, so I'm all good on the thermostat side, on the housing actually. But on the thermostat, it actually has orientation, and if you look, you could see an arrow and it says top. This faces upwards. So once it's installed, it looks like that. The arrow is right here, right next to that little valve right there, and it's facing this at the top. Now the bolts for the thermostat housing had Loctite on them. I'm going to assume it was blue Loctite, that medium strength. I'm probably not going to put any Loctite on it, just put it back how it is. I've never had an issue changing a thermostat and just putting the bolts back in, clean them up, put them back in. So I'll just end up doing that, and just make sure they're torqued down to specifications. You could check the repair manual to see, or check online. Put the hoses back on, the upper goes right here. Clean this up first and put the lower along with the housing, and like I said, torque everything to spec. And after that, bleed the system and put the amount you took out, bleed the system, make sure the heater works, the fan comes on, and coolant's flowing smoothly, and everything should be good. Here we have everything back on, both hoses, upper, lower, and that retaining piece is clipped back on and back in. Now you just want to pop your radiator cap off, fill it up with coolant, approved coolant. Then on your reservoir, it also has a cap. You want to put that cap on, you want to fill that up. There's a mark on it that tells you the level it should be at. Run the engine and bleed all the air out. A quick way to bleed it is let it run with the reservoir cap off and the radiator cap on, and you just grab the upper hose, squeeze it, and I do the same with the lower hose. Grab the lower hose and squeeze that. Okay, that's much better. So the upper hose, you grab that, squeeze it as the engine's running. The lower hose, you want to do the same thing with the lower hose, and the air bubbles are actually gonna come up in the tank. And once you get to a point where there are no air bubbles, then put the cover back on and take it for a spin and see if coolant is flowing good, no overheating issues, your heat works fine. Double check it, pop the cap off again after the engine's cooled down. Actually take this cap off, restart it just to see if any air bubbles are forming. That means if you see air bubbles, you still got to bleed it more. If not, it's all bled. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.